What's up everyone, G2 Vex30 here, coming at you with a new champion chat. For 2 days in a row now, we are stepping out of the world of supports and talking about the realm's newest champion, Dredge, Admiral of the Abyss. As with all champion chats, there will be 3 parts. Part 1 is the intro, Part 2 will be going over general stats and an overview of the champion. Part 2 will also include, in this video, talking about great cards for him. Part 3, we'll be giving more of an opinion on Dredge and just talking about what we think of him. Yet again, in another video, I get to say we reached 100 subs. I'm so happy daily. Every video, we're hitting a milestone right now, and I am just super excited. We are over 1,800 subs, and thank you everyone for that. But if you're not subscribed and like the content I do on this channel, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell as it would help the channel greatly. That is all for me for now. Let's move on to part 2 of this champion chat. Getting into part 2, we have more to talk about than usual champion chats. I'm trying to do a deep dive into Dredge here, so this part will be a little bit longer than usual. So if you want to watch part of it, skip through it. Part 3 will be down in the description when I give my opinions. But here are some of the basics of Dredge. Health. He has 2200 health. He is in line with most champions in the game, but he does have cards to augment it, of course. His title, to go over very basics, Admiral of the Abyss. This title is actually pretty sick, and I think I really want to level Dredge just so I can have that title. Besides the point. Skins. He has 2 skins that comes with him. These are very basic skins, but you have the golden Dredge skin. It's pretty sick. I mean, all the golden skins look really amazing. You unlock them, I think, at level 50 or mastery 20. And the other one is Buccaneer. This really actually changes him a little bit. Changes his head, makes him all red. It's a pretty good skin. Pretty good basic recolor. Abilities, starting with the first one. Broadside. Fires 3 projectiles that each deal 950 damage after a 2-second fuse. Now, this ability is very good for zoning areas, and it's even better when paired with different specializations in his card and legendaries, which we will go into after this. Next ability, Shortcut. Deploy up to 2 portals that you can travel in between. So the way this works is you put down a portal where you're standing, and then when you go somewhere else after I believe 1 second in between, after 1 second in between, you can place on another portal and then go through it back to the other one. Now, I believe the portal you just teleported to gets used. I'm not 100% sure, but it's on a 10-second cooldown after it's been used. So his shortcut's actually pretty good, and it has a legendary to make it really interesting and competitive. Next one, Harpoon. Hurl a piercing harpoon. Enemies hit by the harpoon takes 800 damage and are slowed for 50% for 2 seconds. This ability is on a 14-second cooldown. In base, it's okay. The cooldown's a bit high. The slow is really good. The damage is pretty good. The fact that it pierces through enemies is also good. But he has a legendary, which we're about to talk about soon, that augments this, and it makes it really diverse. And he has a lot of different options here. And finally, his ultimate, Kraken. You create a rift. After 2 seconds, abyssal tentacles rip through reality, dealing 4,000 damage in an area. So basically, where you're looking with your crosshair and you click on any collidable obstacle, which means walls, floors, things that are hanging, anything that you can collide into, it creates a big AoE ball that deals 4,000 damage after 2 seconds. This thing is really fun to use. You should try this as soon as you can. It's so fun to use. Now, his auto attacks, Cursed Howitzer. Every 0.7 seconds, you fire an explosive projectile that deals 800 damage. Reloading fires a slow traveling projectile that deals 1000 damage. Now, to explain this a little more, his projectiles are shot out in an arc. They bounce once or twice and then explode. If you hit an enemy, it explodes immediately. So it's not on a fuse, but it can bounce a few times before it's used. So you can spam out a chokehold or something and it'll explode, dealing AoE damage, or hit the person and do full damage. And then after you shoot your shots, or when you reload, you don't even have to be fully out of ammo. As soon as the reload finishes, you shoot out a projectile that's very slow, not very long range like Damba is, that deals 1000 damage when it hits an enemy. This as well has a legendary that augments it, which that leads us into the next part of this. Let's talk about the legendaries. Scuttle. Your reload projectile now explodes in an area of effect. So base, this is okay legendary. This is an okay legendary. But with some of the cards he has, which it will be right after this, it makes it really good, and it could be very viable as a strat and legendary to pick. Hurl. Harpoon has no cooldown, but no longer slows enemies. I believe Hurl is going to be one of his mainly ran legendaries. Harpoon having no cooldown is insane. It takes Dredge being a short to mid-range, being a short to long range to max range champion. It really opens up the options for him, and he has some great cards that augment this to make it really insane. Abyss Spike. Harpoon now lodges into terrain and explodes for 1000 damage when enemies are nearby. I really haven't tested this one yet, so I'm not 100% if it's viable, but just based off of how it works and how I've seen it worked, it's not very good. It can be okay, but the AoE is not that big. 1000 damage is all right. Why would you just want to defend yourself when you can be throwing harpoons constantly at people? You know, it's just, it's not that good. It's okay. It can have its uses. And the final legendary, Freebooter. Allies may pass through your shortcut. This one may not be that good for casual play, but in competitive, it may have some crazy uses. It needs to be tested, worked with, tried out, so I can't say how it's going to be in competitive, certain reasons, but this is going to be very interesting competitive or playing with your friends. So try this if you're playing with friends. It could be good. Final part of this part, let's talk about some of the good cards Dredge has. We're not going to go through all the cards, because it's going to take forever to go through all the cards, but we can talk about them. Some of his good ones. First one, Cursed Weaponry. Using Harpoon generates 1 ammo, no internal cooldown. Paired with Hurl, this card gives you infinite ammo. When you run it, you should probably run it at 2 for probably most efficiency, and then 3 just to make sure you always have constant full ammo. I run it at 2 personally. This card is one of his best, especially when paired with Hurl. It needs to be paired with Hurl to make it good, to be honest, because Harpoon on a 14-second cooldown, this card is awful. But when you run it with Hurl, it is amazing. Next one, Hole Piercer. Harpoon deals 75% damage to shields. 75% increased damage. Now, again, this one needs to be paired with Hurl. Harpoon is too high of a cooldown to run these 2 cards and the next card. You have to be running Hurl to make these cards work. This card is probably the most broken on Dredge currently. You can do up to 3,800 damage to shields. And your harpoons come out every like a second to 1.5. I'm not sure on the math, but it's crazy. It's crazy good. It's insane. You should be running it. You should have 2 builds, one with Hole Piercer with the legendary Hurl, and one without Hole Piercer with the legendary Hurl. Next one, Mortal Skewer. Heal for 80 health when hitting Harpoon. This is one card that I like. Some people might not, but I love it. Again, this has to be paired with the legendary Hurl. This can be insane for duel. You can heal for 400 when you hit an Harpoon, and even with Caught 3, what is that, like 50 health, 40 health? 40 health. It's still okay with Caught 3. It's not very good, but early game to healing off tanks, it's insane. You can get self-sustain off tanks just throwing harpoons at them. It's just really good, but it does have to be paired with Hurl to make it good. Next card, Heave Away. Broadside increases your reload speed by 8% for 5 seconds. This card needs to be paired with Scuttle. This card has huge potential for massive AoE damage. You broadside a couple choke points, you reload, you get that 40% reload speed, and you just plow into an area. You can plow into tanks on point, hit an Nara, hit an Ando, whoever's just standing on point, and you can be doing some crazy damage, zoning them off, you know, right clicking, a couple left clicks, reload. Right click, a couple left clicks, reload, left click, reload, because it's 5 seconds. So you can right click, reload, left click, reload, left click, and I think you get one more reload in there. It's insane because it lasts for 5 seconds. This combo could be nuts. Hangman's Ire. Dropping below 50% HP gains a 150 HP shield. This card, it might go under the radar, but it can be good in any build as a 1 to 2 point card. That extra 150 shield can block a shot for you. This should be typically your 1 point card you run. If you need a 1 point card, run Hangman's Ire. This has a lot of effectiveness and usefulness at level 1. Sea Dogs. While below 50% health, receive 5% increased healing. Now, Sea Dog pairs good with Mortal Skewer, and if you aren't running a build with Hurl to kill shields, then this could be a really good combo for duels. And that'll be it for part 2. Let's go ahead and move on to part 3. So, Dredge. I'm pretty used to doing these champion chats on support, but let's do one on a DPS. Let's do an opinion talk on DPS and see how it goes. So, as a support main, I don't get the chance to play DPS very often. I've played a lot of Paladins, so I've played a lot of DPS. I can fully say I could probably be a DPS player if you give me 2 to 3 weeks to learn mechanics and really refine mechanics, really. I know the mechanics. But Dredge himself, after playing him on the PTS for a little bit, seems balanced without loadout cards. But with loadout cards, when you throw cards like Hull Piercer, Curse Weaponry, and Mortal Skewer in one build, and it's very efficient when you can run all three, he's insane. When you make an ability that is 800 damage, have an extra 375% damage to shields with no cooldown, you can kill shields within 2 to 3 seconds. You can 2-shot a nano shield with one auto attack in between. You can 3-shot just using hurl and 2-shot it with an auto attack. I believe the same with con shield. But it's just crazy. Like I said, Dredge is balanced without loadout cards, but with it, he's nuts. His legendaries all have uses too. I think I said this on Twitter, or I forgot where I said it. But Dredge is one of the most best, well-designed, diverse characters Hi-Rez has ever made. Besides a couple of his loadout cards, which need adjusting. Base, he's just insanely just balanced. And he's very diverse. He has so many different options to play. 5 loadout slots isn't enough. You can make so many with this champion that would be viable competitively. When you're talking about best legendaries, I think Hurl is going to be his best. I think it's going to be his main meta staple legendary. In casuals and some competitive games. But Freebooter might have a chance to really, really, really be a competitive powerhouse when used correctly. He really brings something else to a team, or a champion brings something else to a team when allies can teleport without using their movement ability. I think that's interesting. Overwatch has that with Symmetra. I think it's a huge mechanic. Now, their maps and their systems are set up differently, but it's still the same premise. I'm really happy that Hi-Rez released this champion. I'm very happy that it's a blaster, because we needed a new blaster, to be honest. I'm very happy they took the time with him and really they took him in a really good art direction as well. Design and art was amazing on Dredge. Everything about him was awesome. Evo Mojo / Hi-Rez, great job. Now, a little bit more about him in the meta. I'm going to talk about more casual meta here. Maybe ranked game meta. You're going to find yourself, like I said, using Hurl the most. But there may be opportunities where you can use Scuttle and it'd be very effective. When you're against, on a smaller map, 2 tanks, Scuttle could be really good. You have an opportunity to have insane DPS and insane burst with a reload auto attack or an auto attack reload when you run Heave Away. I would try it out. Find out for yourself. I've played it in games and it's very, very good. The burst potential with it is insane. The spam potential is insane. Everything about it's insane. But I do think Hurl is going to be his major legendary and majority legendary. I think Abyss Spike I don't like it. I don't think Abyss Spike's good. I don't know what they need to do to make that viable though. I'm going to test around with it and see if I can find a use for it, but I really don't think there is a use. Now, maybe on smaller maps, you can throw a spike on a chokehold and just wait for them to fall back into it or come into it and then burst them or bait somebody into it. But that's a 14-second cooldown. You're only getting this every 14 seconds. Or you can get a reload that does 1,000 damage and you can reload every 2 seconds, 1,000 damage every 2 seconds, but you have to hit it. A Scuttle base and logically just makes more sense to run. Freebooter, if you're playing with friends, it can work. I think if you're pubbing with 5 random people or 4 random people, I don't think it's going to be very good. I don't think there's enough coordination there for it to work. But Dredge in the meta, I think he's going to find a place. I don't know if he's going to be first pick, first pick, but he will find a place in the meta. I don't think he's going to be a low tier champion. I think he's going to be a mid high tier without a nerf. to his shield damage, though, I feel like he's going to be very high tier against double shield comps or even single shield comps. Maybe double Stigala. Terminus and Nara is going to become meta against Dredge because Terminus can eat it and Nara doesn't have a shield to break it. Neither does Terminus. He loses effectiveness against especially Terminus. But him, the meta, he's going to be mid to high tier with a very high tier potential when playing against shields. But that's it for my opinion on Dredge. I hope everyone enjoyed this champion chat. I know it's not a support and I'm out of my realm of talking potential because I'm just not a DPS player. But I think I still have some good insight to Dredge, and I understand this champion well. I have a very good mind for the game, at least I believe so. Ego alert. But just kidding. Very good mind for the game, so I hope everyone takes these opinions and go out there and try it on your own. Don't think everything I say is true, and go try it for yourself and then see if I'm right. Don't believe everything you hear, you know? But I hope everyone enjoyed this video. Hope everyone enjoyed this champion chat. And if you did like it, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Also, again, thank you all for the 1,800 subs, and we'll be at 2K in no time. I appreciate it. We're close to be partnered on YouTube as well. That's it from me. I hope you guys have a good day, night, morning, evening, dawn, dusk, whatever it is where you live. And I'll see you guys later. As everyone knows, in every single champion chat, I extend this video to the end of the game so you guys can see the end score screen of this match. You guys can see the stats, how I did. This has been crested many times, so enjoy the rest of the gameplay. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.